I'm 11 years old. I'm the founder of tennisforthecase.com, and if you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. And if you're not subscribed to my channel yet, kindly do it so that you don't miss any of my videos. So without any delay, let's get started. And today we are gonna do very interesting topic in JavaScript. So we are with the JavaScript topic, and in JavaScript we are gonna do map. So we are gonna learn about maps in JavaScript, right? So maps is also a very important concept, right? So it is basically a type of object, right? So it is a kind of object, right? But it is a different type of object. So let's see the different why we should use the map object, and what are the deficiencies of using a normal object as a map object. So an object always has a default key like the prototype. So an object always have the default key like the prototype, whereas a map object doesn't, right? Because it does not need it. Okay, a key of an object must be a string or a symbol with a normal object, right? You cannot use an object as a key. So a map data type is all, it also has key value pairs, right? So map also has key value pairs, right? So a map can have any data type key, whereas an object can only have the a key can be of only the string type or a symbol type. But in with maps, the key can be of any data type. So this is one of the main features of map, right? This is one of why you should use, why the map is used, right? An object does not have a property that represents the size of the map. So an object, there, you can't know what is the size of an object, but you can identify the size of a map, right? So over here we have three variables over here that are John. uh, they are objects, right? So and these will be the keys of our map, right? Of a map object, right? So over here we have objects, three objects. Then we are creating a new map object, right? User roles is a new map object, and then we are just logging out type of user roles. So we are just logging out what is the type of the user roles, and then we are logging out the is the user roles instance of map. So first it will show us object because the type of user roles is object, and then we are checking that if user roles is instance of a map. So user roles is a instance of map, so that's why it will show us true, right? Now then we learn how to see how to add elements to a map, right? So to add elements to a map, use the set method, right? Use the set method to add elements to a map, right? So over here we are using the set method to add elements to a map. Like we are setting, first we give the key and then the value. So a key is the John object. So a key will be the key will be a object, where this is not possible with normal objects, guys. This thing is not possible with normal objects, where we can keep objects as a key. But over here we are having an object as a key, right? And its value is admin, right? Then we are setting this Lily. So Lily is also an object, so we are setting Lily as the key, and then its value is editor. But then on the set method we are again calling the set method. How is that possible? What basically happens, the set method returns us an object, right? Sorry, a map object. So the set method returns us a map object. So basically this is setting a key value pair in a map object and returning the same map object, on which we can call the set method with Peter as the key and the value as subscriber. So basically the set method returns us an object, right? So it returns us a map object, the same map object where it added the key value pair, right? And on that we can call set once again and give it whatever key and value we want. So over here we are giving the Peter object as the key and the value is subscriber, and in every object there is a name, this full name of the person, right? So what all the keys will be an object with the full name of the person, right? So over here we are setting three keys, right? We have three keys in a map of three key value pairs in a map object, that all the keys are objects. That is not possible with normal objects, and it is only possible with a map object, right? With maps. So this is only possible with maps, and that's why I find maps so cool, right? Because you can have any data type as a key, right? Now we'll just see initializing a map with an iterable object. So instead of again and again using the set method to add the key value pairs, we can in the start only, where we are creating the new map object, we can directly over there only just say whatever key value pair should be there in the start. So over here we have a user roles where we have a new map, right? So it is creating a new map object for us, and then we are passing it an array in which it has we are passing it an array of arrays, right? So in the sub arrays the key value pairs are there, so we are passing it an array. So basically we are passing it an iterable that will have all the key value pairs as arrays. So over here we are passing it an array with all the key value containing all the key value pairs in an array. So the first key value pair will be this, which will be John as the object. So the John object will be our key, and admin will be the value of that key, right? Then we have Lily, that will be the key. So the Lily object will be the key and its value will be editor. Then finally we have the Peter object will be the key and its value will be subscriber, right? So yeah, so we'll move on with this object only right now, right? Which will have three key. In all the other examples we'll use this only, where we'll have three key value pairs, right? All the keys are objects of those key value pairs, right? So now we are just on getting an element from the map by key. So basically if we want to get a value of the key, how can we get it? We can use the get method that gets the value of a key. So we are logging out user roles.get. So user roles, a map object, has a get method in which we can pass any key, a key name, and it will bring a value of that key name, right? So it will just search for that key in the whole object and it bring its corresponding value. So over here we are giving the John object. So the John object's value was admin, so it will log out admin. So if I just run this, so we'll expect to see admin. Yes, we saw admin, right? If I uncomment this, so what is happening over here? We have a foo object which has name foo. Then we are logging out user roles or get foo. So there's nothing such as there's no foo object, right? There's no foo object in like in our map object, right? So there's no foo key, right? This object key, right? So there's no this object key. There's no key value pair with the key like this, right? So it will give us undefined. So if it does not find any key for whatever key we are searching, whatever keys value we are searching, if it does not find that key only, then it will give us undefined, right? Quite cool. Now we are on check the existence of an element by key. So there's a has method of all the map objects, and in that we can pass it any key, right, to check if that key exists or not. So I'll just uncomment this foo for now, right? So over here we are passing it, we are doing checking user roles dot has foo. So what it is saying, it is saying that check if user roles has a key with this value, right? So it will check the whole map object to see that, it will just search in the whole map object and try to find that if any key value pair has this key, right? But if it does not find any key value pair with this key, whatever we give over here, it will give us false. And if it does find, like over here it finds Lily as a key in our map object, then it will give us true, right? So it is giving us false before, because over here we are checking that if the user roles has the foo object as a key in it, so it does not have a foo object as a key in it, so that's why it will give us false. But then it is checking that if it has a Lily object as the key in it, and the Lily object is a key in the map object, so it will give us true, as expected, right? So this was a has method, very easy till now. Get the number of elements in the map. So when we were looking at the advantages of the map object, we got to know that one advantage is that we can know the length, or we can say we can know the size of our map object that we cannot know in a normal object. So if I just there's a size property through which we can know the size of a map object. So if we just check user roles or size, it will give us the size of a map object that is not possible with normal objects. So over here we are getting 3 because there are 3 key value pairs in our map object, right? Now we are on iterating over map keys. So over here we are looping on all the map keys. So what is happening? We are doing let user of user roles dot keys. So user roles dot keys, what it does, it gives us an iterator object in which there are 3 things. All the keys of it contains all the keys of our map object, right? That iterator object that is returned by user roles dot keys, it contains all the keys of our what we say, all the keys of our all the keys of our map object, right? Why was I so confused? Sorry guys. So we are looping on, we are doing let user of user roles dot keys. So user role dot keys is giving us an iterator iterable object, uh, iterator object, right? So if I just console.log user roles dot keys, then we'll exactly get to know what exactly is it returning us. So it is giving us a map iterator object. So user roles dot keys gives us a map iterator object, right, in which it contains all the keys of our map object, right? So over here we are looping on it, and user is one by one every key of the map object, right? As in the this is giving us an iterator object in which we have our keys. So user is first, our first key, then it is our second key, and then it is our third key, right? And for every key is basically an object that has a name property. So user is that object. As I just said, that user is the first key, then second key, then third key. User is basically an object because all the keys are objects. So user is an object that has a property name, because all the objects that we defined above had a property named name, right? So we are just in the for loop of every key object that we get, every key that is an object, all the keys that are an object, right? All the keys are object, and so basically um, uh, um, uh, all the keys have a property named name, right? So user is that object, right? And you, if we just do user dot name, because user is the object, it has a name property that we can access using user dot name, right? So you see we get John Doe, Lily Bush, and Peter Drucker, because because in the name property we save the full names, right, of the user. Just a second, I'm just switching off the AC. Just a second, guys. It was really cold inside here. Now it's normal. Okay, so now I iterated over all the map keys. Similarly, we have a values method, right? So that values method also gives us a map iterator object containing all the values of our object that are there in our object. It contains all the values, right? So the values method is first admin, then it is editor, and finally it is subscriber, right? So in we have an object, it is we have an basically the values method returns an object with all our values, right? Then we can use the off loop, right, to loop on those values. So we are doing let role of user roles dot values. So a role is basically, first of all, it is basically admin, then it is editor, then it is subscriber, because these three values were there in our object, right? When we did user dot values in our iterator map iterator object, these three values were there. And then we are in role, one by one we are getting all those values, and then we are just logging out role. So one by one all those roles will be logged out, that is admin, editor, and subscriber. This is what we expected to get, right? Now we also have we also have a entries method, that gives us an iterator object which has arrays in it, right? Which has arrays in it. So it gives us an iterator object which has arrays in it, and right, and in those arrays we have the key and the value. So over here what we are doing let element of user roles dot entries. So what this is doing, element is one user role dot entries gives us a map iterator object which has a lot of arrays. So arrays of the key value pairs, so there will be three arrays in that object, because there are three key value pairs, right? And uh, and in in every array there will be a key and a value. So in element, first we are getting one array, then the second array, then the third array, and then we are logging out. Over here we are using this backtick, so we can concatenate like this directly. So over here we are doing dollar element 0 dot name. Element is an array, its zeroth element is the key, and the key is an object, right? We define the key as an object, so we are getting the object over here like this, elements using element 0 and its name property we want to display. So first of all it will be John Doe, then it will be Lily Bush, and then finally it will be Peter Drucker. And then we are giving a colon, and then we are printing out dollar lm, so lm1. So the second value in an array, in our array, is the value. So using the first index we are able to access the second value in our array. So that's how we are getting the value. So value first will be admin, editor, and subscriber. So altogether it will show as John Doe admin, Lily Bush editor, and Peter Drucker subscriber, right? So you see how it is getting, I just explained, right? We can do the same thing but like this also. So we are over here using destructuring over here, right? So we are doing let user comma role of user roles dot entries. So we are doing for let user comma role of user roles dot entries. So in the loop over here we are destructuring. So as a user roles dot entries, we'll get one array, then the second array, then third array. We are over here getting it in an array, and we are destructuring it into two things. One is a user and the second is role. So user will be the value of the key value will be user, and the uh, uh, the value that is there in the array, the second element, that is the value, will be role. role will come in role, right? So if you just want to learn more about destructuring, you can just check out my object destructuring video, right? There I have explained destructuring very properly. So over here we have an array, right? So entries gives us an iterator object with three arrays, right? As we have three key value pairs, and for every array we are destructuring that array, right? And in that array we have a key value pair, so we are destructuring it, and the key is coming in a user variable and the value is coming in the role variable, right? And then we can directly access them as user will be the key and role will be our value. So over here we are just logging out user.name. So user is a key, so user will be that object, as our object is a key, and object that that had the name property, and then we are accessing its name property, so it will show the name of every key value pair, right? Every like basically every key value pair object's name, right? And then we are just showing dollar role was our value because it was the second element of our array, right? So role is the second element of our array, right? So it is a second element of our array, so it will show what we say se- value, right? So if I just run this, it should bring the same result, right? Because the key value was first admin, then editor, then subscriber, because role was a second element and the second element was a value, and that value was coming in role, so we are just printing out the role. So the values were first admin, then editor, then subscriber, right? So this is also done. Then finally we can also do this using the for each method. So using user roles dot for each, right? So for each role, right? So for each key value pair, it is calling this function, right? So for each key value pair, it is calling this function. It is first giving it a value, so it is first passing that function a value that we are saving it, that we are accepting as the role parameter. Then it is giving us the key that we are accepting as the user parameter. Then we are logging out user.name because that was a key, that was an object with the property name, and we are just displaying that name, right? Using user.name, and then we are just displaying dollar role. So dollar role was basically a value, so we are just doing accomplishing the same thing but with the for each method also, right? Quite cool. Now we are on convert map keys or values to array. So for example, you receive an iterator object, right? You receive an iterator object, and then suddenly you receive an iterator object and you want to access um, you basically receive a map iterator object, so you want to access one of its values, right? So if you're calling the keys method, for example, you will get an array of all the keys, right? And you want to access the first key, for example. You will just try to access it like you do in a normal array, but that is an iterator object, that is not a normal array. That's why you will get an error. I'll just show you guys. So over here we'll have a variable keys equal, we'll just directly start console dot log, right? And we want the user roles dot keys, right? So we want the user roles dot keys, and you have got the keys, you have got the map iterator object, right? And now you'll try to treat it like an array. So you'll just try to access its zeroth element, right? You will just try to access the first key. You must be thinking this is right? Why isn't this right? If you run this, you'll expect it to bring whatever you want, but you see you'll get undefined. And so this is now not how you access keys from a map iterator object, right? or you can say values or entries, anything, right? You can't directly do it like this. What you need to use is the spread operator, whose video I just made yesterday, right? And you need to use the spread operator to convert the map keys or values to an array. So over here, using user roles or keys, a we are getting our a map iterator object. And now we what the spread operator is doing now over here, it is gathering all the values of the map iterator object and just dropping it into the array. And then what is happening, because it is gathering all the values, it will just have this object, then this object, then this object in a list, right? So this is a list, but then we are giving square brackets around it manually, right? Like this, ourselves like this. So now these will be treated as array elements, right? So this is very cool. I've made a complete video of a spread operator, right? So if you just want to learn what spread operators are, you can just check out my spread operator video, and that will, I think that will be a great help for you to learn this over here, how we are converting the map keys or values to an array, right? Then similarly, we are converting, as we converted the keys, we are converting the values, right? Very, very, very cool. So we converted those into arrays and then we just logged them out, right? Very, very cool. The spread operator is very cool, right? And now finally we are on deleting an element by the key, right? So we are on deleting an element by the key. So we are doing user roles or delete John. So a John is one of the keys, so it will delete John, right? So it will delete John, right? Because it is one of our keys. So if I just log out then the entries, then you'll see that now the key value pair that had John in it is now no longer there. So if you just see, I just converted it into an array, and now if you just see, the key value pair with John as the John object as the key is now not here, right? Okay, but if I give a value a key name that does not exist, then what happens? Just see. So basically, this does not exist, right? This key does not exist. That is string John. It does not exist over here. Then what will happen? You'll see nothing will happen. Basically, it will do nothing. If it does not find a key that to delete, it will do nothing, right? It will not throw an error. It will not do anything. It will just move on with the code, right? Then we have the clear method. Okay, so then we have the clear method. That does, it empties, it removes all the key value pairs from our map object. So it removes all the key value pairs from the map object and just keeps the map object without the key value pairs. So we are getting an empty array because we are calling user roles dot entries. So that had no arrays, right? It had no arrays. It was just a map iterator object with no entries, no key value pair arrays, right? And then we tried to convert them to array, so it did not gather anything because there was nothing in it, and the only these brackets were left, so it is just showing us that array, right? And this was it, guys. Thank you, guys. If you like this video, don't forget to smash the like button and share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you, guys. Bye. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep watching my videos. Done.